All right, we're ready for action. Hello, everybody. IIan Azbel here, CEO and co-founder of Autochartist.com. This is a webinar on the 15th of March 2012. It's a webinar which will provide an overview of the Autochartist platform and what it can hopefully do for your trading. So I'm going to do a basic overview of the platform for about half an hour to 45 minutes, and then we're going to leave the last 15 minutes for questions and answers. If I don't get your question, please email techsupport@autochartist.com, but we'll try to get through as many of them as possible. Sometimes there's so many that we can't get through all of them. So let's hit the ground running. Some of you, I see some familiar names coming online. I see some new names which I've never seen before. So I'll assume that we'll start from zero, and I'll try to explain to you what Autochartist is all about and what the idea behind the product is, and how to do some basic things on the platform. So really, what Autochartist is, it's an automated technical analysis tool that allows you to very quickly find trading opportunities in the market without having to scan the markets yourself. So what we don't do things like moving averages and RSIs and bowling bands. You get those kind of things on pretty much any trading platform out there, whether you're trading stocks or futures or commodity futures or FX. What we do is we identify psychological support and resistance levels in the market. And we scan pretty much global markets for these type of trade opportunities, and we alert you to them. A simple example on my screen is some support resistance lines that Autochartist has identified for Euro Canadian dollar, and Autochartist has identified that the price has actually gone through resistance level and is now there provides a forecast level of 1.3026. Very, very simple. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to actually figure out what Autochartist is saying for you. Just look at the green arrow. So first things first, how do you get into the platform? All right, this is a good question. So I'm flipping my screen to the Autochartist.com home page. And we'll just wait for my screen to update on everybody's screens. Okay, and on the Autochartist.com home screen, what you're going to see is on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, a section called Broker Partner Login, and it says click on your broker's logo to log in for free. So if you have a live account or a demo account with any of the listed brokers, you can click on the broker's logo, and there will be instructions about how to obtain and actually get into the Autochartist platform for that specific broker. So different brokers have different ways of accessing the application. Some of them access it through the website, through the Autochartist website. Some of them have it embedded directly into their platforms, and it's really a case-by-case basis. I can't tell you a formula for getting into Autochartist, but the best idea is to just go into www.autochartist.com. I'm sure you all know our homepage, and just find the logo of the broker that you work with and click on that logo, and you'll get the instructions of how to get into the platform. Another useful thing before we actually get onto the platform itself, on the top right-hand side of the homepage, you'll see a little button that says Trader Community, and when you click that, you'll actually get to a Trader Community home screen. It's actually not, well, we're going to change the logo from a Trader Community to actually just an education section. Primarily what this section contains is education in the form of videos, articles, and research. And so also if you're a YouTube fan, we have a dedicated channel on YouTube. If you go onto youtube.com and click on and just search for Autochartist, you'll actually get to our channel, and we have videos there which are updated. I think soon it's going to be on a daily basis, if I'm not mistaken. Right now it's once or twice per week with educational videos. If you scroll down on the Trader Community homepage, you'll actually see on the left of the menu a section which is called Research. And under research, we've got articles, daily articles and weekly articles about all types of different financial instruments. So if you don't want to go into the app and you just want to see what our analysts are actually saying, then you're welcome to just click on some of these articles and actually read 200 to 300 words on a daily basis about what we think about certain markets. But let's get into the meaty stuff. So this is the Autochartist platform. I've already logged in. As I said before, go into autochartist.com, click on your broker's logo, and follow the instructions to get in there. And I've already logged in. This is a demo platform that I have. And I'm going to show you how I use Autochartist. So there's three main sections to the Autochartist platform. The first section is your searches area, okay, a searches pane. So what this is a search pane that tells you what you're actually looking at. So I have selected the Forex menu item, and that has given me all the opportunities Autochartist has identified on the Forex market. If I click on NYSE, Autochartist gives me all the opportunities that it has identified on the New York Stock Exchange. I can also create my own search, right? So let's just say I trade New York Stock Exchange, but I'm not really a frequent trader. I trade New York Stock Exchange at the end of every day. So I can select a group, New York Stock Exchange, end of day. Now the thing is that you'll see a lot of exchanges listed on my application because I'm using a demo application for this webinar. On your Autochartist application, you will only see the financial instruments that are tradable through your broker that offers Autochartist, right? So if you've got a broker that only offers FX, you will see only FX instruments in Autochartist. If you have a broker that covers global markets, whether it's CFDs or stocks, you'll get all the data that broker supports. So let's just say, for example, I want to trade New York Stock Exchange end of day. I select that group, and what I can do is I can name my search, and I'll call it my search. And what I can do then is I can actually go into the advanced search section. The advanced search section will actually allow me to edit specific search criteria for different types of analysis, whether it's chart patterns, Fibonacci patterns, or key levels. So, for example, if I'm trading stocks and I don't want penny stocks, so I can put a minimum price of, let's say, $5 for a stock, and the maximum price of, let's say, $120 for a stock. I can look for bullish or bearish signals. In this case, I want both. I look for reversal or continuation patterns, and all types of indicators which are geared really towards the more sophisticated technical analyst. I normally like to leave all my search criteria as a default. But the one nice thing about the search screen is it will actually show you, if you scroll towards the bottom of the search screen, it will actually show you what types of opportunities Autochartist identifies. So with regards to chart patterns, it finds triangles, ascending and descending and symmetrical, and rising channels and falling channels, and rising wedges and falling wedges. Really popular patterns like head and shoulders and inverse head and shoulders, triple tops and triple bottoms, flags and pennants, and the double tops and bottoms. When if you look at the Fibonacci patterns, we look at the types of patterns we identify are retracements, projections or extensions, ABCD, Gartley, butterfly, and three-drive patterns, which are really the 6 most popular Fibonacci patterns. And our brand new product, which we only released about 2 months ago, called Key Levels, this identifies horizontal support and resistance levels in the market. And as you can see, those are the two types of opportunities we identify over here. I'll just wait for everyone's screen to update. Might be getting carried away here a little bit, right, Yvette? So anyway, let me leave everything as is, and I will just click Create Search. And if all goes according to plan, I should get a new search at the bottom of my search screen called My Search, which has been pre-selected now, and that should show me opportunities on the New York Stock Exchange. So let's give that a moment to come up.
IIan, should we do a little poll question while we're waiting for that to come up?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, going to launch it.
Okay, guys. Quick question for all of you. Where did you hear about Autochartist? Please select one of the options so that we can carry on with. You can carry on looking at the presentation. Okay, fantastic. Can we go on, Yvette? All right, great. Yvette's giving me the thumbs up. Looks like almost everyone came here from their brokers, and then internet. About 16% of you came from the internet. That means we've got a decent internet presence. That's a good thing. Okay, so back to the presentation. I've selected my search, which I'm sure you recall was basically New York Stock Exchange, anything between $5 and $100. Okay, so now what I see is the next most important section in Autochartist, which I'm highlighting at the moment, and that is the active trading opportunity section, which is really just a list of trading opportunities that Autochartist has identified. Okay, so in my search, I hope you remember, I selected end of day New York Stock Exchange, right? So these all the opportunities here are based on end of day opportunities on New York Stock Exchange. Now, let's just have a look at one or two examples. So what we have here is an opportunity, an inverse head and shoulders opportunity on Montpellier Holdings, and it is of length 251. Now, length 251 means that 251 candles have formed this pattern, right? And then very clearly you can see from the green arrow, the green arrow means that there has been a breakout through a resistance level, and now Autochartist believes that Montpellier Holdings forecast level is around just over $20.12. Okay, let's look at another opportunity here, which is Harmony Gold Mining. Again, these are daily candles, right? And it's a descending triangle, which means it's a strong support level, and by the red arrow means that the support level has been breached, and Autochartist believes that the next target level for Harmony Gold is the $10.20 mark. Now, what we can do is there's a little link on the kind of the middle of the screen on the right hand side called results filter. Okay, now I can actually open that up, and once you open that up, what you actually see is what I'm actually viewing on the screen, which are completed chart patterns, completed Fibonacci patterns, and completed key levels. Now let me explain what a completed pattern is. Let me untick a few of these. Okay, and click on emerging as well. Now let's go back to that Montpellier Holdings example, right? In this example, you can see that the price graph has clearly breached a resistance level, which means it is complete. The pattern is complete. It's been identified by Autochartist. Now let's, as we said, we look at Harmony Gold Mining as an example. It has breached the support level, and we think it's going down to 10.20. Right? Now, an emerging chart pattern is really a chart pattern that hasn't yet breached through support or resistance. So let me zoom into this one over here. As you can see in this example, this price graph has not yet breached through the support or resistance level. Okay, now this is very interesting. What can one do with this opportunity? All right. One can do one of two things now. Autochartist allows you to be a swing trader or a trend trader with these emerging patterns. Right? It means that if you want, you can take a short position, which means selling this stock down to the support level, or what you can do is set a limit order so that your broker will automatically open a long position if the price breaches a certain level. So let's say you could set a limit order at $30 or just over $30, so that if there's a definitive breakthrough through resistance, your trade will automatically be placed in the market. So really what emerging patterns allow you to do, and these emerging patterns are identified by gray arrows, either up or down gray arrows. What these emerging patterns allow you to do is really to be either a very high risk swing trader, which means trading between the lines, right, trading the volatility, or allow you to take a proactive position in the market expecting a certain breakout. So it's very, very important to keep an eye on these emerging patterns. Okay, so now we have a distinction between completed patterns and emerging patterns. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you similar concepts for both Fibonacci patterns and for key levels. Okay, so let me turn on the Fibonacci patterns and switch off the chart patterns. Okay, so now let's wait for an emerging ABCD pattern to come up on US airline. Let me make that slightly bigger, and let's see what it's actually saying to us. So if you're looking at this Fibonacci pattern, this is an emerging ABCD pattern. Now what Autochartist is saying to you is that there was an A, a B, a C, a turnaround, now it's C. And Autochartist is saying is that if the price gets to 1172 for US airlines, then there is potentially a rebound back to these Fibonacci levels down here. Okay, so this has identified a Fibonacci pattern that is not yet completed, right? So emerging, back to the concept of completed and emerging. This is an emerging Fibonacci pattern. So it's Autochartist is not saying to you go long because we think it's going to hit this mark. It's saying if it hits this mark and there's a turnaround, potentially it could go back down to these Fibonacci retracement levels. Okay. So potentially what you could do, if you see a bullish movement up towards this 1172 level, you could already start taking short sell positions at 1172, assuming that potentially a Fibonacci, because it's a Fibonacci level, there might be a turnaround back down to these Fibonacci levels. Let's look at a completed Fibonacci pattern. Okay, this is CVS. I'm not that familiar with the US markets. I'm not quite sure what company CVS Caremark is, but let's have a look at this. So now Autochartist is saying to us, I've identified an ABCD pattern on CVS, and there's the A, the B, the C, and the D, and now Autochartist has identified a very small turnaround after the D. And now what Autochartist is saying to us is that potentially there's a move down to these Fibonacci levels. So you notice the difference between the completed Fibonacci pattern and the emerging Fibonacci, right? In the completed Fibonacci, we're already heading towards the Fibonacci levels. In an emerging Fibonacci pattern, you wouldn't have this whole leg between C and D. Let's move to some key levels examples, which is our brand new product that we released 2 months ago. Well, I'm not sure if 2 months is a brand new product, but it is a brand new product for us at Autochartist. So again, we're going to come back to the concept of emerging and completed. Let's see if we can find a completed pattern first before we move on to emerging. Okay, well let's take any example. This looks pretty good. Okay, so so this looks like a Vanguard short-term bond ETF. Okay, so it's not really a share, it's an ETF, but let's have a look at it anyway. So what's happened in this situation? This is a completed key level, right? That means that Autochartist identified very strong support at 80.98, and now it believes there's been a breakout down through this support level, and Autochartist believes that the price is heading towards 80.44. Similarly, let's have a look at Bristol-Myers Squibb. So Bristol-Myers Squibb, so Autochartist has identified a resistance level at 33.27. You can actually see the resistance level is pretty clear. There was a it touched that resistance point twice over here. There was quite a bit of, despite the fact that it actually went through this point, there was some consolidation and a bit of a pause during this level over here, and another breakout, strong breakout through this level at this point here, and again touched that point twice, and again a breakout through this level. So Autochartist now believes, as the green arrow points out to you, that the price is going to 35.13, and this is a completed pattern. Again, completed. Why? Because it's broken through a support resistance level. Now let's look at an emerging key level. So this is an example of an emerging key level, right? So this is Newell Rubbermaid. I'm not familiar with this company, but let's have a look at what Autochartist is saying. So it's identified resistance at 1981, and it's touched this resistance point numerous times, 1 to 3 times, most recently just a few days ago. And now Autochartist is saying to you that It hasn't yet broken through support or resistance, right? It hasn't broken through this resistance level at 1981, but certainly the price is heading towards that level. So again, let me make that slightly bigger. What are you going to do as a trader here? Potentially you could do one of two things. Number one, you could take a buy position, a long position towards with a take profit at 1981 from the current level. Or what you could do is you could set, say, a buy position at a limit order at around, just below $20. It's at $19.90 or even $20. So that if there is a breakout through this resistance level, your trade will automatically get executed. Let's look at some forex examples. Now, in terms of forex, I think what we'll look at is more the more intraday type environment, because the forex traders have the ability to really gear themselves up quite heavily, and so that lends itself to intraday trading. And so the first thing that I want to point out here is that Autochartist alerts you to the latest chart patterns that have been identified, or the latest opportunities that have been identified. Okay, and that is through this little orange icon, this little exclamation mark. I'm sure you can see it on the top left, and also on some of the actual opportunities. That means that these are the latest opportunities that Autochartist has identified. Okay, and now here we go. We'll change the results filter again. Let's add a few more types of analysis in there, and close that results filter up, and we can see that there's been quite a lot of action in the forex market. There's maybe 10 or 15 or so orange little dots, which means there's quite a few new opportunities that have occurred in the market. Let's look at one or two examples. Okay, so Euro Swiss franc, Autochartist saying there was very, very strong support at 1.204, and it moved away from that support level and now heading back down towards the support level, Euro Swiss franc. Okay, now let's look at another very, very interesting feature of Autochartist, which is what we call power stats. Now, if you notice, there's a button on kind of to the right of the chart, and that's called price movement, and there's a little button next to it called view analysis. So if we click the view analysis button, and we give that a moment to come up, we get what comes up on the screen is what we call our power stats product. Power stats product is very, very interesting. Now, what this is, it's a volatility indicator, right? So power stats doesn't tell you in which direction it thinks the market's going to go, like the search screens we've been looking at. Power stats simply tells you where. Sorry, I've got an echo on my line. Someone unmuted themselves. Okay, so sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, sorry, let me carry on. Suddenly got an echo. Okay, so power stats doesn't tell you directionality in the market. It really what it does is it gives you an expected price range for the next 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hours, and 24 hours. So what is this telling us? Okay, so this is telling us that Euro Swiss franc on Thursday at 9:15, these are the types of price movements that should be expected. So from the current price in the next, let's say, 30 minutes, I'm expecting the price to be between 121.07 and 120.77. Or in the next 4 hours between 120.61 and 121.23. Insightful, but not really useful, but actually to the contrary, it's one of the key things in forex trading, or intraday trading, so to speak. It's there's a theory in the market that you can. It doesn't matter when you get in. It's all about how you get out of the market. That's important. Okay, so what we found with a lot of traders, especially in the FX market and on highly geared markets, over-the-counter instruments, is that people have unrealistic expectations about how much profit or loss they're going to make on certain positions. Okay, so you could go into the Euro Swiss franc, take a long position or a short position, and think, oh, I'm going to make 100 or 200 pips on this trade. But in reality, what Power Stats tool is telling you is where realistically the price is going to be within a certain period of time. Okay, so if you're not planning to hold your position for more than an hour or 4 hours or 24 hours, you should be looking at the Power Stats tool to tell you where approximately within reason, you should be setting your stop loss or take profit positions. So if you set your, let's say you don't want to hold it for more than 24 hours and you take a long position, and you set your take profit outside of 121.47, there might be a very strong chance that you don't close your position within the next 24 hours, right? Which means a few things. One, you've missed out on volatility within the day, so you potentially missed out on a lot of other trading opportunities and tied up unnecessary capital in a position that you're just holding for too long. Or it means you're going to be paying overnight swap. I hope everyone knows what overnight swap rates are, but basically that means that you're paying interest on the capital that you're holding. So I urge you to before you set your stop losses and take profits, look at the Autochartist tool and let it at least guide you in terms of where it thinks the levels are going to be within the next within certain time periods. Let's look at another little feature of the Autochartist tool, and that's the movement per hour tab. The movement per hour tab is basically a summary of the volatility of the selected instrument over a 24-hour period. So what we can see here very clearly is that I've set mine, well, before I carry on, I've set my my Autochartist to be in America, New York time zone. So all the times you see here are in Eastern Standard Time, New York time. So we can see that Euro Swiss franc trades quite heavily at 3 o'clock in the morning in New York, and again between 9 and 10 New York time. Right? So if I'm a trader in New York and I pick the kids up from school and I only get back home at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon for my lunch break, and that's the 1 hour I have in the day to trade, Euro Swiss franc should not be the instrument I'm trading, okay? Because there's very little volatility happening in the market at that time of day. Let's choose another example. Let's just see Australian dollar, US dollar. Okay, here's an example, Australian dollar, US dollar. This is quite an interesting example because it's got many peaks and troughs through the day. Okay, so again, I'm in New York time. My system is set to New York time. So peak volatility happened at 3 o'clock New York time, 9 and 10 New York time, and again at around midnight New York time, which is very interesting. So if you actually basically in your top right-hand corner, you can set the time zone of Autochartist to be whatever time zone you trade in, okay? And the time zones we cover are pretty much the entire world. And the information you see on Autochartist will all change according to the time zone that you're currently in. Okay. So in brief, I think I've covered pretty much the entire Autochartist platform. In brief, I've shown you the difference between completed and emerging patterns. I've shown you the different types of patterns that Autochartist identifies, and shown you one or two very simple examples of how to use Autochartist. It looks like we've gone into about half an hour. Yvette, should we go into Q&A, or do you think we should cover something else?
I think you've basically covered everything, IIan. I'd like to suggest that we do the second poll, just see what what the responses are there, and then we've actually been fielding quite a few questions behind the scenes as well, so we can take a look at the questions after we've done the poll. You good with that?
Great. Get it, yeah, show us the poll. What's the poll for this time? Okay, so the poll question is, would you like your broker to call you to let you know how to use Autochartist? Oh, I'm glad to see the no's going down. And the yeses are increasing. That's a good thing. Yvette, so, okay, great. Thanks for that, guys. Yvette, so do you want to run me through on some of the more interesting questions that I can field some answers?
Okay, let's just have a look. I wonder if you can maybe take us through some of the quality indicators. We've got a question from Russ Winter. He says, can you explain quality, initial trend, uniformity and clarity?
Fantastic. Let's do that. That's a great question. Thank you, Russ. Okay, so let's find an example. Just scrolling through some of my results over here. Okay, let's look at let's try and find an example. This is Swiss franc, Japanese yen. All right, and let's actually go into this. All right, so the best way for me to show you what the quality indicator is all about is if I actually open up the search screen, click on the advanced search tab, and scroll down to the quality indicator section. Now wait for all your screens to actually update before I carry on. Okay, so in the quality indicator section, we actually have a visual explanation of what the quality indicators actually mean. So let's go through them one by one. Clarity means how clear or how much noise there is between the support resistance levels. Okay, so you can see the little icon on the left-hand side. There's a lot of noise, a lot of jagged movements between support resistance. And on the right-hand side, a very clear pattern would be very distinct movements between support and resistance. The initial trend is whether the pattern has formed from a very strong initial trend prior to the breakout, prior to the formation of the pattern, or whether the pattern was really formed from preceding noise in the market. Volume increase, which is not in the example that I'm showing now, is actually only used for exchange-traded instruments, not forex. So that's any exchange-traded instruments where we watch for an increase in volume at the time of the breakout to actually confirm the breakout through support or resistance. Uniformity is really how evenly spaced are the touching points between support and resistance. Right? So you can see in this example on the left, very poorly spaced out. So that's very low uniformity. On the right-hand side, the icon shows very, very strong uniformity, very evenly spaced touching points. And the last quality indicator is the breakout strength indicator, which means how large was the bar, therefore how definitive was the bar or candle that broke through support resistance. You can see on the little icon on the left, the breakout through resistance was very small, so it's a very low breakout strength. And on the right-hand side is an example of a very strong breakout strength. And the overall quality is simply an arithmetic average of all the other quality indicators. So let's look at the example we've got on our screen. Okay, so the initial trend, as you can see, a very, very strong, a very, very strong initial trend. So this is the initial trend over here, the very, very strong bearish trend prior to the formation of the pattern. Okay, so it's got quite a high initial trend score. Uniformity, you can see that the first touching point was here, the second one was here, but the third one was somewhere kind of towards the end, the latter end of the chart pattern. So the uniformity score was not really that strong due to this pretty long gap between the two touching points. Clarity was quite strong. Autochartist believes that due to the length of this pattern was formed over 144 candles. Right, 60-minute candles. This is quite a long pattern. It feels that the noise between the touching points of support resistance is not that big, so it gives it quite a high quality rating. And the breakout, it gives a very low quality rating. Now the reason for that is let's actually zoom into this opportunity. Okay, and once we've zoomed into the opportunity, we can see very clearly that although the candle that broke through the support level was quite large, the actual breakout wasn't very definitive. So if you ask me, IIan, would you trade this as a pattern? I would say certainly not at this stage. The breakout indicator was too low for my liking. I would certainly wait for an additional confirmation of the breakout through another bearish candle going towards shows us that this is broken through. Yeah, one might argue it's broken through, but one could also argue that there was a bit of noise in the market and that happened to break through the support level. So right now, personally, I would wait a little bit longer to wait if there's a confirming breakout in the direction. I hope that answers the quality indicators question.
Thanks, Ilan. Thank you. Okay, the next question we've got is from Adil. Does Autochartist take into account the news announcements on the day for a given currency?
Okay, Anil, I hope I can answer the question. The question is kind of yes and kind of no. No, I'm not copying out. I'm being truthful. Is that Autochartist itself does not take that into account. So it literally only looks at movement of prices. So if there happened to be a support or resistance level, and a news announcement caused a lot of volatility in the market, and the price happened to go through that support resistance level, then of course Autochartist would identify it. But really it's as an after effect of the news event rather than a forecast of what the news event is actually going to make the market do. We have actually found that there are a lot of breakouts through support or resistance during news releases. But in essence, Autochartist just looks at the price graph.
Thank you. Okay. Next question, Ilan. Can you maybe go over the candle age heading where we've got the age and maybe just give us some more detail about that?
Right. Whoever asked that question, I was actually thinking exactly that. I was looking at that right now because my mouse was there. Let me quickly explain to you, everyone, what age is. Okay. So let's click on an example. So the age is really how long ago in candles this pattern or this opportunity was identified. Okay, so if we're looking at this USD CAD opportunity right now, the age in candles is 0, all right? Which means that Autochartist had just now identified this in the last 15 minutes, because this is a 15-minute candle, right? Don't confuse this with the length, right? The length is how many candles have actually formed the opportunity itself, right? Whether it's a chart pattern, a Fibonacci pattern, or a key level. But the candles in age is how long ago was this opportunity identified. So if we look at the very top of the list, which is really where all the latest patterns come through, because the list is sorted in ascending order of age. That means the 0 age is at the top. The latest opportunities are at the very top. If we scroll more towards the bottom of the screen, we can see that the candles actually the aging candles actually starts increasing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. All right. Let's actually have a look at. Let's click on one of these opportunities which is slightly older, and actually see what's happened here. So let me find one which is slightly clearer that I can show my example clearer. Okay. So I'm clicking around here. All right. Let's look at USD ZAR, seeing as it's close to home. All right. So that's supposed to be an age of 5. All right. Now what you can see has happened here is that we identified the pattern when there was a breakout through the resistance level, and Autochartist forecast the price to go to 781. Now what has happened subsequent to us identifying this pattern is that candles have formed, right, and the price graph has actually moved. And what you can see is that to the right of the price graph, Autochartist draws some transparent candles. Either as a green transparent candle or a red transparent candle. And those are the candles that are formed subsequent to the identification of the opportunity. Okay. Now this doesn't mean that this opportunity is long gone. Okay. In fact, to the contrary, in my opinion, that what we see at Autochartist quite a bit is a strong breakout through support resistance, and then a retracement, and then a continuation back in the direction of a breakout. Okay, so in no way should this be viewed as an opportunity that's been missed or opportunity that's gone wrong. In fact, right now this is a buying opportunity on USD ZAR, okay, to go up to 781. So now this is the other thing I want to get to. In the past, about a month or two ago, before we released this aging candles feature, everything, the results that were viewed in the Autochartist platform included historical patterns, historical opportunities. Okay, which means that there was confusion about what can and can't be traded. Autochartist has been modified in the last month or two to only include what we call relevant opportunities. Relevant opportunities meaning everything you see listed on Autochartist we believe is still a valid trading opportunity. You should look at each opportunity critically, of course, and add your own indicators to it and decide how you want to trade it. But according to Autochartist, these are all opportunities that are currently available to you in the market. I hope I've explained the age column.
Okay, thanks, IIan. I think let's give you maybe the second last question. It's from Alberto. Are there some performance stats of which patterns perform better than others?
Right, performance stats. Okay, so to be completely honest, it's something that I wanted to. We do have statistics, and if you actually click on the bottom left of your screen, there's actually a little link that says performance statistics. You can click on it if you like. It'll only give you stats for chart patterns. In the next few weeks, we're actually going to be showing the performance stats for all the types of analysis that Autochartist performs. That means chart patterns and key levels, and that'll happen in the next few weeks. But for now, you can click on this performance stats button, and that'll take you to some performance statistics analysis. Now, I'm not going to go into there now. I'll quickly switch back my screen. But what I can tell you is that Autochartist does quite well. I don't want to say Autochartist, right? I want to say technical analysis or support resistance level theory does quite well on horizontal levels. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're talking about only the key levels product, right? That also means you're talking about things like, let me uncheck some of these things, right? Things like, okay, of course, support and resistance levels, but also things like ascending triangles and descending triangles, all right? Oh, wonder what happened there. Right, so for example, an ascending triangles do pretty well because they're one of the key aspects of an ascending triangle is a very strong resistance level. So we found that chart pattern theory and the theory of psychological support and resistance levels in the market works quite well for horizontal levels, whether it's chart patterns or key levels. I think, Yvette, maybe it's a good idea for us, maybe next time, we don't have much time for it now, but maybe in the next webinar, I'd be very happy to actually go into a lot of the statistics and performance stats of the chart patterns and the key levels. Maybe we should do that in a few weeks' time and invite everybody back again for an in-depth analysis of those stats.
I think that's a very good idea, IIan. I'll make a note of that, definitely. So can I put you on the spot for the last time? It's a question from Kelso. Can I use Autochartist as a currency futures day trader, and will it give me tick charts?
Okay, so Autochartist can be used on pretty much any financial instrument, but we do the analysis on the underlying, right, on the underlying instrument. So for example, if we do analysis on, let's say, for example, Euro USD, okay? So here's an analysis we've done on Euro USD, and that's the analysis we'll provide you. The financial instrument on which you actually take your position is outside of the realms of Autochartist. So if you want to take a spot cash position on Euro USD, you can do that. If you want to take an options position, you can do that. If you want to buy a currency future, you can do that. If you want to take a binary option on Euro USD, you can also take a binary option. But we always do the analysis on the underlying instrument, which happens to be the cash value of Euro USD. The thing about Autochartist with regards to tick charts is that Autochartist does not provide charting facilities, right? Autochartist provides automated technical analysis. So if you look at our charts, the charts don't update in real time. They are simply a snapshot of what happened in the market when we identified this opportunity. Okay, so if we zoom into this opportunity here, Euro USD, this is a price graph that's formed over 4-hour candles. So this is quite a long-dated price graph. It's found, Autochartist found support at this level at 130.66, and it's found that it's broken through this level, and we think it's heading to 128.71, which is a strong devaluation in the euro. Now, you can see this chart doesn't update. This is a static image which will only be updated in the next 15 minutes. So Autochartist gives you the research. It's up to you to go to your broker or your trading platform and get the tick charts and actually execute the trades through your trading platform. And is that the last question?
Yes, yes. Thanks very much, IIan. I think we can end off. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. It was a great session. We're going to leave the training room open for about 10 minutes or so that we can just answer some more questions. But IIan, you're free to go. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you, and I hope to see you all back very soon again. And if I haven't answered any of your questions, or you feel I haven't answered them sufficiently, please send us an email to techsupport@autochartist.com, and my team will answer as best they can. Have a nice day, everyone.